Then we have Mr. Pradeep Kumar Borar, retired IAS officer. Yes, yes. Mavalankar sir, please. I would like to request the dignitaries to keep their session for about 8 minutes. We are actually running.
Is there. It's okay. Thank you very much for inviting us here for a panel discussion. As PC Pandey said, there's one more crow in this whole gathering of Huns who doesn't know anything about homeopathy. So I'll not talk about homeopathy, but let me tell you what public health is, because sometimes there is misunderstanding that public health is a branch of medicine, which unfortunately happened after our independence. Before independence, the Britishers set up All India Institute of Hygiene, it was called, and Public Health in Calcutta, and the Institute of Tropical Medicine. And there in Calcutta, Ronald Ross was a British Army colonel, worked there. He got his transfer done to India because he was interested in malaria. And he found out how malaria is transmitted from mosquitoes to birds to humans, etc., etc. And for his work in India, he won Nobel Prize in 1905. So that time it was such a big multidisciplinary institute. So what we say is doctors are required for when you cannot manage your own health and you need somebody's help, then you need a doctor. But public health is required every day to keep people healthy. So to maintain health, promote health, and organize the whole community so that health is maintained is what is public health. And some of the luminaries of public health were not doctors, not any scientist. I'll give you one example and stop because time is very limited. There was a fellow called John Grant. He lived in the 1600s in England. His family was owning a shop of buttons and needles. It's called herbatoire that time, because clothes stitching was a big business. But he had interest in finding out why people die. So what he did was he went to all churches, because at that time anybody who dies was recorded in the church and buried in the church ground. And he every week collected, they were called bills of mortality, like they were chits. Currently we call it death certificate. So similarly he collected and analyzed why people are dying. And he published a report every year of cause of death, and showed that many diseases which we could prevent or reduce in the community were causing lot of deaths. And that is how public health started. Second example I'll give you, there was a British Navy surgeon. That time, I don't know, this was 1742 or something like that. Britain was becoming a naval power and lot of ships were going with sailors, but they found that within few days of sailing, they used to develop a disease called scurvy. It was known that bleeding gums and all of that. And there were many theories of why scurvy happens, and many treatments were there. And then he decided to do an experiment on these 12 sailors which were returning, ship was returning back to England. About 10 days were remaining of the voyage. He took 12 sailors, divided them into groups of 2. One group of 2 was given chicken broth because that was thought to be curing. Second was given salt water to gargle because gums were getting affected. Third was given something else. Fourth was given lemon and oranges. And by the 10th day, the group of 2 people who got lemon and oranges were cured of scurvy. And rest were the same or died. Now within 10 days he did an experiment on the ship. Now is this Ayurveda? Is this naturopathy? Is this homeopathy? Is it allopathy? You decide. by giving lemons and oranges. Only thing is he documented well, and after he didn't stop there, he did that documentation for 10 more years and then produce a treatise or a book on treatment of scurvy, and conclusively showed that lemons and oranges, because nothing, C vitamin was not even discovered, chemistry was in its infancy, but they showed that lemons and oranges prevents this type of sailor's disease. And then the British Navy passed an act saying all ships must carry lemons and oranges with them when they go on a long voyage. And after that, within 10-15 years, scurvy started disappearing from the Navy. So what my lesson in public health is, we have to document whatever we are doing, whatever improvements we are doing. And fortunately now, with Modi Saab's help and Tedros's help, Dr. Tedros's, we have in Jamnagar a new global center set up, and huge investment is going to come. So we should take full benefit of that to show to the world that what really works and how can we document it. Because almost when that center was being established, I thought of writing an article of why Ayurveda became traditional. In the times of Ayurveda, when it was discovered, it was modern medicine. Because Rishi Munis experimented, they tried, they extracted. Now why did it become traditional? Because some better experimentation came and better methods came. And if you take roots of many allopathic medicines, some of them are of course chemists' gifts like aspirin, but many are coming from plant alkaloids of plant origin, because that is how cinchona and many others. So as science develops, we have to use modern methods, and that's why you had the first session of saying how can we test out various homeopathic medicines in a more rigorous way so that we can prove that it is effective and then try to implement. Because in public health, we have to give the medicine to a lot of people for prevention, promotion, and for setting up a system of health where we can try out new solutions to the old problems. So for public health, we have to show that this really works not only at individual level, but it is standardized and works on a community level. So that's why we also do community trials. Beside the individual clinical trials, we do community trials. And after doing that, if it is shown useful, then of course it can be adopted. The other side of modern medicine is over-medication. That also, maybe homeopathy, somebody, madam, said that it should start with homeopathy, but I would many times see that it sort of, after exhausting all other options, people come back to homeopathy. That also happens because they try everything else and come there. So as a society, we have to set up mechanisms by which we invest in research. If we want to become Vishwa Guru, or we want to, and that's why my sort of recommendation, madam can take it to Modi Saab, is this center should be funded with, say, whatever amount, 100 crore rupees every year, take 5 medicines or 10 medicines every year and prove them, whether they are working or not working. Next year, take another 5, 10, 20 medicines and prove them. So within maybe 10 years, we will have 100 medicines which are rigorously shown to be effective, or some of them will not work and we are convinced that it doesn't work. We can modify them and improve upon them. So that is where this new center will really come to be very useful in the arena of public health and acceptability. With that, let me stop and request our panel to say a few words initially, their thoughts on how do we integrate homeopathy in the public health system. Thank you.